Morning, folks. So last night frost was forecast and I planted out a couple tomatoes sort of as a test, and put my thermometer out here. Looks like it got down to 1.2, which is not a killing frost, or even technically speaking a frost, I guess. Frost would be below 0, but you can get away with a little bit of fudging right around 0 and tomatoes will live. But I had covered my tomatoes just to protect them from frost. You can see I just put whatever over them. Didn't have to do it, as it turns out, but now I can pull that off. You can see my nice little tomatoes in there. I didn't cover them with anything clear because it didn't matter, because they were only going to be in there overnight. I'll just leave these buckets in here because it says that maybe instead of last night, we'll be getting that on Wednesday night. It turns out with my Maine tomatoes, I've planted one of each kind of my Maine tomato here. I have 10 different varieties, so that doesn't include my cherry tomatoes or my determinate tomatoes or my dwarf tomatoes. This is just like the main crop tomatoes. Totally unintentionally, I have an equal number of potato leaf and regular leaf varieties. And when you start looking into tomatoes and different like biodiversity in our seeds, you'll notice that a lot of plants look very different from each other. And here you have an example of a regular leaf tomato plant. So you can see how the leaves are cut, divided into kind of a lacy looking pattern. And over here you have a potato leaf tomato plant, and it does not have as much cutting on the leaves. They're not as divided. So again, those are those two next to each other. And modern tomatoes are pretty much always regular leaf. And it seems like maybe potato leaf ones tend to be hardier or have a European background. But that was kind of interesting to me. I didn't go out to try and choose different types of leaves. I chose my tomato plants based on the qualities of the plant. Well, looks like the beets are coming up a little better here. Those are the beets, and these are the lamb's quarters, which I'm looking forward to eating. Looks like some dandelions over there, which are also delicious. Oh, the lamb's quarters is almost big enough to harvest. Look at that. Oh, that's so exciting. That only took like a couple days, honestly. Things are moving fast in here. It gets quite hot in the greenhouse. You see here, if you look, how the beets are coming up in clumps, sometimes of like 2. That's pretty common. There's another one coming up in a clump of 2. That's because beet seeds, like you would get in a seed packet, are not actually seeds. They're fruits that have more than one seed in them. So if you plant one beet seed, this is what the seeds look like here. They're kind of like a spiky ball. Inside that spiky ball, there'll be a couple of different seeds. And what that means is that you don't have to plant more than one if you're worried that your seeds won't all come up. And it's hard to trust that such a tiny little seed is going to give you a huge big fruit or vegetable, but they do. If you're worried about it, you can always, with beets, just plant one and know that you're actually planting several seeds at once. But if you see, here's my row of peas, this big plant down the center here with the curly tendrils on it. I planted just single peas. You can see how far apart I planted them. You can see where there's a gap. Here's a gap. Actually, it's coming up there. There's a gap here. And so most of the seeds came up. You don't have to plant too many. You don't have to plant a lot. I thought that was interesting. Oh, this is so exciting. All of these greens. Dandelions are starting to come up. The geese keep them out of my yard for the most part. But there are some in one of my back fields, one of my side fields, and then there's good King Henry here, which is it's related to like amaranth and lamb's quarters, but it's perennial. Has a lot of flavor at this time of year. Later in the year it gets bitter. It's my stinging nettle patch. It's huge. It's time for me to harvest and freeze some of that. It makes well, anything you can do with spinach you can do with stinging nettles, except it tastes better. And then this plant here with the round leaves, I wish you could smell this. This is all mint. So it's spread all over my garden here. And then over there with the kind of spikier dull leaves, that's raspberries. So this whole part of the garden is just like raspberries and mint taking over, which is fine with me. I'm waiting for this whole section to see if any of my romance cherries overwintered. Hey geese, would you like some grass? There, grass. Yum. Hey miss. Oh, look, it's goslings. They actually went inside last night to sleep, and now they came out, so that's good. They've been being taught to eat grass. One of them was limping a little bit. Oh yeah, it's still limping. Let's go take a closer look at that. Trying not to step on anything I shouldn't here. If this was a romance cherry, I don't see it growing yet. It might not. This one is growing for sure. And this one is growing for sure. This one over here doesn't seem to be. And the romance cherries are sour cherries that were bred to be sweet. So sour cherries and sweet cherries are different kinds of actual plants. They're just they're related, but they're different plants. And sour cherries are more hardy. They will live in a colder temperature than sweet cherries. So someone has been breeding, the University of Saskatchewan has been breeding sour cherries to taste more sweet, which is really good. Because then it means that the plant will survive the winter, but then we still have a sweet tasting fruit. So we're going to see how these guys are walking. It's always a challenge. They need niacin, which is found in brewer's yeast. And so you need to supplement them with that, but it's hard to get them supplemented because they're all out and about. Yeah, there's one limping. Oh, hey. One limping there. I'm just walking. I'm reduced to kind of throwing out handfuls of food, and everyone eats it at once, and then they'll go and eat a bunch of grass. And they're growing great. Oh, except that poor little limping one. Oh, little one. Well, We'll get him some niacin and see if it makes a difference. It may or may not. I'm doing fencing over the long weekend. That's pretty much what my long weekend looked like, was a lot of fencing. Huh. There's an egg. A duck egg. Here are... Oh, shoot. So this nest keeps getting bigger and bigger. So they're still laying into it. See, there's a real clean egg right in front. That's probably being laid into it this morning by one of these ladies, the one who's not sitting on the nest. What I would like to do is lock her up in her own pen so that people stop laying into this nest, so that they can, the eggs take a certain number of hours or minutes to hatch. And if there's an egg laid every day, then the babies hatch at different times, which is really hard for the mama bees to handle. Oh, they flipped their food container. Oh, I think Little Pig probably came out through there. She dug out. How many pigs are in here? One. Oh, yeah, Little Pig is in there. Okay. I'll come in a little bit and feed you guys chicken food. Hi. Hi. Uh-huh. You're looking like you've been in some fights, little one, or maybe you're molting. So the other day, the pigs got out. They dug under this fence here, which is not surprising because it was supposed to be reinforced with electric wire. And I unreinforced it for the winter because the snow buries the electric. So I put electric back up so they wouldn't go under it. It's been pretty hot here. They've been really using their wallow. Oh, Rapunzel. You're, I think it's too early for you to be pregnant. You're bagging up, though. A little bit. It's hard to tell. They're so muddy right now who's who. The piglets are back there. Oh. You okay, Apricot? Are you like having babies in the middle of the field? She's due real soon now. Delicious mud. It's starting to be mosquito season here. So they're enjoying being covered in mud, partly to keep the mosquitoes off of them. And partly because who doesn't like to roll in the mud? Everyone likes to roll in the mud. Everyone likes to roll in the mud and then pee in the mud and then eat the mud and then roll in the mud. Because who doesn't? Who doesn't? I have this little tray here for the babies to drink from. It's kind of under the electric so the big pigs don't flip it. My babies are all up and back there, having a nice little party with my fence that's fallen over. Hey, baby pigs! They were just like tearing around yesterday, running and running and running while I was working on the fence. They really like running right now. It's a great age to be a pig. Still getting fed by mom. Get to sleep in a little pile of other pigs. Don't have to worry about interpersonal because you're still a baby and everyone is nice to you. There's Penny. She's pretty skinny right now. Her huge udder. And Rapunzel, I was looking at you. Oh, okay, you're not actually bagged up. It's just she has, after their first litter, they tend to have bigger udders. I've been putting cages around these apple trees when I have time. The cages have to be pretty tall because if the snow gets up tall, then I still need the geese to not be eating the apple trees. I have some more cages to make, as you see. Then I need to prune those little guys so that they'll grow properly. And you can see those apple trees, only one side of the big one is coming back. That's because the geese ate half of it during the winter, so I need to again prune that, but I wanted to see what's actually going to come out and be alive and what isn't. Almost time to do our warm planting. Tomatoes and squash. So the tomatoes that I put in there were kind of experimental. I guess if I wanted to cover them all, it would be fine. Oh, we're having so much fun. We're gonna flop over. Oof. Man, I'm never gonna be afraid to put my face in just pure water again. Imagine getting mud up to your ears. Flop. Oh yeah, slow motion flop. Slow motion flop. No. Oof. Not quite. You can see how muddy they all are. Have this mud caked on them. Hey miss, you're so round and fat. Definitely notice that the red ones have more babies and are better with their litters. And so I'm trying to decide, for biodiversity's sake, if I should try and keep these round white ones, black and white ones, in the line. If I should keep fewer of them, but keep trying to get babies out of them. Because they're just not as good at producing other pigs. And producing other pigs is something I need them to be doing. At least having one good litter a year, or 2 small litters a year. Fish. Hard decisions. I can't keep everyone, and I can't feed everyone if they're not producing for me. Oh, that's a nice wallow full of mud. I think that'll keep them for a hot day. I'll go bring the geese some water now. Hey, mister. Yeah. You can see this pond here is dried up. The only water there is from the juncture of the hose where it's leaking. Oh, here are the goslings. Ew. In the mud. There's not even that much mud on the property right now. I don't really understand. So I have this water here because when I empty it, the water goes over there and sinks in, and then the rhubarb drinks it. So that's nice. Oh, there he is, trying to destroy that. Whew. All right, well, let's take one last look at these goslings, and then I'll leave you to your day, and I'll get on to mine. Here are the goslings. You're a mess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, little one. You really are amazing. Okay, well, there they go. Y'all have a good afternoon now.